So today's video is actually not what I originally planned on talking about, but it feels much more relevant, especially for me. Uh, so if you don't follow the NBA, last night the Oklahoma City Thunder lost to the San Antonio Spurs in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, and myself am a huge Thunder fan. I love the Thunder. Grew up loving the Thunder. Been around for the ups, the downs, and everything in between. And coming off of last year and that high of winning the championship and, you know, Shea Gilgeous Alexander winning the MVP, uh, it was amazing. Like that feeling was unmatched, especially for someone like myself who is a huge sports fan. And the other teams I root for really don't succeed all that often. So, I mean, that was a thrill and a joy to be a part of. And then this season was honestly just as fun. And, I thought we were a better team. And unfortunately, injuries and, other luck didn't really swing our way. But, that happens, and that's sports, and that's life. And so I look at last night, and I look at that loss, and it's it's difficult, right? I mean, obviously, I didn't play. I have no legitimate attachment to the outcome of that game. It doesn't change my life, whether they win or lose that. I would obviously love them to win because I support them and I root for the team. But I look at something like that, right? A Game 7 loss as arguably the better team. Um, and it really shows that loss and failure is such an integral part of life. And at times it's more important than winning and success ever is. I think of all these great quotes and these great lines from shows and movies and music and all these different um, entertainment paths and even books. And, it's funny, one comes to my mind because I actually just seen it the other day. But from Batman Begins, when, Bruce, father, and then eventually later in the movie, Alfred, his butler, um, tells Bruce, why do we fall? It is that we can get back up and keep going. And I think that is just, it's like, man, like you're going to fail, you're going to lose way more than you're ever going to win in life. Way more. And so it's important to, one, learn how to deal with loss and failure and grief, how to work through those emotions because it can be very difficult for a lot of people. A lot of highly competitive individuals don't like losing. They don't like failing. Like it swallows them whole. And I think for a long time, I could be included in that. And don't get me wrong, I love competing. I want to win. Um, at times, I am a sore loser. But as I've gotten older and I've lost more and I've continued to continue to lose, um, you kind of sort of learn to deal with it and work through it and allow yourself to feel disappointed and allow it to sting, but you don't allow it to linger. You, at least in my, or at least at this point in my life, you kind of use the 24-hour rule, right? You sulk, you feel shitty about it, and then you take it for what it is, and that's a lesson, and you learn from it. You You figure out what could I have done better, what in my control could I have changed, um, so that the outcome was different. And man, like I feel like this is very similar to what I talked about in my first video, that like when you get what you want, it never really hits the same as when you don't get what you want, right? Especially when you work hard for it. Like failure is always, always a better teacher than success is. Failure will teach you a lot about yourself. It will teach you who you are as a person, how you handle adversity, how you handle your wins, uh, because that's important too. A lot of people can be very successful in life, and they are not the best at handling that success. Um, they could be obnoxious. They could be arrogant. They could be sore winners. So losing, it really allows you to peel back who you are and be like, damn, okay, like who am I truly? Like it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? We're not back-to-back NBA champions. You know, I may have won the MVP, but I fell short of the team goal, and which is really the ultimate goal at the end of the day. Um, so it's important to take failure for what it is and don't let it destroy you or forget who you are. Because honestly, it'll teach you more about yourself. Like I've already said, like it'll literally allow you to find yourself in this mode that you're not gonna be in when you're not losing, right? When you don't take that risk, when you don't work hard and try your very, very best to achieve something and it falls short, like that's the only time you can really feel those emotions of failure, of loss. And that's what makes a lot of our wins sort of worth it when we work so hard, right? Stuff that comes easy goes fast, but the things you fight for often stay. Um, so when you fight for it though, and you don't get it, damn, that really stings. It hurts, but you can't let it. Give me one moment. I'm next to a road. Not probably the best spot for me to be in. I guess it's going up there. Can't hear it now. But lost my train of thought. Regardless, um, yeah, no, I had something else entirely planned to talk about in this video, but seeing as my favorite team lost and having to deal with you know that failure and that loss as a fan and not really as a competitor, it definitely it still hurts, right? Because you root for this team, you spend a lot of hours watching these games and you know debating with the people around you on who's better and who's not. And so obviously I have ultimate belief in my team, and if they fail, they lose, right? I got to take the backlash that comes with it from what I said to those around me. But I'll take it on the chin because I'll always believe in this team, and I think same goes for myself. I'll always believe in myself, and when I fail, when I lose, like that's not gonna change, right? That's not gonna go away because what I just worked hard for didn't happen. Like I'm not gonna be like, well, I'm worthless. Like I can't do this. I will never achieve this. Like no, like I'm never gonna let failure sway my opinion of myself. In the same way that I would never let it sway my opinion of the team I root for and the players that are on this team. Right? You can be the best person. You can be the best team. You can work harder than everyone else, and you could still fall short of your goal. And in that time, you'll learn more about yourself than you ever will winning. I promise you, this team that just lost will learn more about themselves than they did in the 2025 season where they won the championship. And as a fan, that's exciting because, you know, those lessons can only be learned in those moments. And now that they've felt what it's like to be almost there and almost repeat and not do it, you know, that brings a different edge to you as a person. And again, that's the same thing applies to myself, to you, to anyone that has fallen short of a goal and has lost, has failed, despite giving it their all. It's no different. You know, it's how we bounce back. It's how we grow. It's how we actually take these losses. We turn them into lessons, as everyone loves to say, right? It's so cliche, but it's really the truth, right? Like, how do we take this failure and we strip it down and we find the parts that we can control and we can work and fix and correct so that the next time we make this attempt and we try to, go for something big, we avoid these mistakes that led to our failures. So, I mean, not a very complex topic, right? Uh, but it's always like no one wants to fail. Like, everyone wants to win, but not everyone can win. Like, that's just how it is. Like, not everyone can be a winner. There has to be, for there to be winners, there has to be losers. And sometimes you fall on that losing side. And it's about how can you take that loss and you can turn it into a win in your next attempt or the attempt after that or the attempt after that. Because sometimes you just stack losses before you ever see a win. So how do we continue to take it on the chin, shoulder the weight of failure, and keep pushing forward without getting discouraged? I think that's the biggest thing and the most important thing we can do with failure and loss. So again, not a crazy topic or a crazy deep thought, but I just thought it was really relevant. Um, Seeing as I watched my team lose on the big one of the biggest stages last night, and as someone um, who is a competitor, who in life wants to be great at whatever they do, and you know, I want to win as much as I can, right? No one likes losing. I want to win. I want to be a winner. It just really resonates with me. And just kind of a side note, it this has also shown me that there's a lot of people that have never stepped into the fire, right? I think of the man in the arena, right? There's a lot of people that have never stepped into the arena that like to have opinions and comments on those that do and then those that fail in that arena, right? OKC, one of the most hated teams in the league for whatever reason. There's a plethora of them. I won't talk about them in this video because it's not relevant, but I guarantee you there's a lot of people that criticize and critique this team that have never stepped foot in a highly competitive environment and allowed themselves to fail, right? There's a lot of people that shelter themselves, that don't allow themselves to succeed because they don't want to see themselves fail at the same time. And it's the same thing in our lives, that there will be people that criticize you and critique you when you fail, when you lose, that would never even have the courage to step into the arena, step into that fire, and take a chance and see if they can win or lose. So I just find that funny because it's like, why should anyone care about what you have to say about me losing when you yourself are scared to fail? So it's not about that, though. It's not about other people in the situation. It's not about your haters or your um, criticizers. It's none of that. It's about you and how you handle loss and how we take this. pain and we form it into something that allows us to succeed and become a better version of ourselves and achieve those goals that we set for ourselves, um, and push through the adversity that it comes with being a competitor, with being a high achiever, right? So that's pretty much all I had to say. Again, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm gonna, try my best to stay consistent with these. I'm not gonna give you a set schedule when videos come out or when I'm gonna make them. It just kind of, when I have ideas, when I have the time, I'm gonna go and record and allow my thoughts to just kind of flow. So I appreciate you guys watching. Like, comment, or don't, whatever. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one, guys. Peace.